Anna Rewczyńska. This is myself. You've already met me this morning. Przemek Jaroszewski. I'm head of a team, a CERT team at NASK Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, our task has been made easier because we did not have to explain you why the Internet of Toys is relevant after Chris' presentation. Many things may not work out, however. Chris is not an easy partner to talk. And this toy is not an easy partner to talk either, but we need to wait for him to wake up, sort of. So, ladies and gentlemen, on the occasion of this conference, we presented you our first steps that we've taken within the program called A Threat or an Opportunity for a Child's Development, the Internet of Toys. Some of the elements of this project are already implemented. The project involves certain toys to be tested. We'll try and talk to some of them. Then we verified the threats and or opportunities, methods of installation. We also checked for the data they download and store. Quantitative, qualitative research we've developed. Quantitatively on how many of these toys are actually in use, and qualitatively in what way are they used, particularly in this realm of Internet of Things. So for testing purposes, we have chosen, as you can see, 4 toys on this side. The one on the left was very hard to bring here. It's a house. It's a house for the protagonist of the second image. It's a dollhouse, smart dollhouse that's online. You can ask the server by a voice command to switch on the music, to convert the stairs into a slide and other similar devices. The Barbie doll that our predecessor has just mentioned, it's one of the scariest of these toys because of the reasons that Chris has already mentioned. The doll is limited in its possibility to interact with a child. It's not an actually smart. It's actually a not smart doll, so to speak. It's got several thousand possible interactions pre-programmed. It learns about the preferences of a child. And based on these preferences, it's still constrained to the scripts that are pre-programmed by the manufacturer, but it doesn't use any kind of vast knowledge base. So it's pretty foreseeable what it can do. And then the teddy bear. Oh well, let's go back to the Barbie. Why it scares us so? As Chris said, as much as the interaction is limited, each and every voice command issued by the child is indeed uploaded to the server and stored there. And the manufacturer reserves the right to make transcripts, analyze, and pass on to third-party entities. We'll speak about that, and based on one of the law firms that helped us in terms of privacy rules. From this standpoint, we'll speak. Then we've got a teddy bear that senses when it murmurs as well. It senses when it's thrown up in the air, when it's hugged. As a rule, the manufacturer says that no data is uploaded to the server, no private data is uploaded to the server. But we'll speak about it from a technical standpoint in a while. However, yes, indeed, this teddy bear is not thought to be, not destined to be so interactive, but its intelligence is limited to several dozens of interactions. He can tell stories, react to very simple commands. However, it does have a microphone built in and a camera. The manufacturer says that it serves the sole purpose of recognizing cards with images that can be used for play. All of these toys are pretty young. 2 years ago, this teddy bear was reprogrammed, was hacked, in a way it could send information by means of the tools already built in, the camera and the microphone. And the last hero that I hope we can talk to for a while, this last one is fed with a knowledge base that can reply to questions. We can call it an Alexa device for kids. So we'll speak about the research in a while. We've already presented our protagonists here. The smartest toy is this one.
Zabawka łączy się z internetem, nie zadziała.
It goes online. It won't work if it's not online. For that no reason, Anya was called Emerson a couple of days ago, and since then I'm Emerson for him.
Okay, what would you like to know?
Where is Poland?
Poland is a large country in Central Europe.
Maybe you know.
What is the capital of Germany?
Different places. Did you know Maine is the only state that has a one-syllable name?
No.
Czasem mu wychodzi lepiej, czasem gorzej.
Sometimes he does better, sometimes he does worse.
Okay, what would you like to know?
Who is Donald Trump?
Donald Trump is the 45th president of the United States. Before he was president, he was a businessman and had his own TV show.
And who is Donald Tusk?
Whoops, I missed that. Say it again.
Co again?
Who is Donald Tusk?
Current Prime Minister of Poland and the country's longest-serving Prime Minister since the beginning of its Third Republic.
Potem widzimy, że jest nieaktualny, bo
Porównując te dwa,
We see that his information is not entirely up to date sometimes, but comparing these two messages, that we see that the grade of updates is not distributed evenly. So this is how a conversation with a dinosaur looks like. He tells jokes, plays music, invents stories and plays. It's a toy that you can actually play with, really. Okay, this slide with was actually covered by our by Chris before. But a couple of details let me add. The very idea of the Internet of Things appeared to its creators as a very relevant one. Somebody who said, let's try to connect our fridges, our shoes, and so on to the internet. The reason was to collect a lot of relevant and irrelevant data. You could think that all statistics and collected by smartwatches, smart shoes, smart sports shoes, you can introduce this gamification into, for example, practicing sports. Secondly, you can analyze how something works by collecting data on it. We have this narrative on, let's say, air conditioning engines and so on. By creating smart devices, you can manage things remotely. You can automate such management in a way that if the temperature drops below a certain level, you can switch off the lights or launch the some other devices. If something communicates via Bluetooth, then switch on the coffee machine, and so on and so forth. It sounds very nicely. The examples of smart devices were numerous in the previous presentation, but the overall problem refers to much wider concepts, because we already have smart homes and smart cities, intelligent parking management, city lights management, street lights management, city dump areas management, clean air management, and so on. So the social impact of this phenomenon was described very well in the previous presentation, also the technical aspects. A large chunk of our research is technical as well, so let's think of what can go south in terms of technicalities, what can be problematic. Well, first, that the priority of the manufacturers of smart devices is market advantage. Add new features before the competitors do. Security and safety is of the least of concerns of the manufacturers. Secondly, the fact that the safety is bypassed, is omitted, is that one of the reasons for that is that the computing power and energy efficiency these are put first. These are put first on the priority list, and it's just the energy. There's not much energy left for security measures and ciphering, for example. Third, there is the possibility to update the device is limited because there is not much disk space. The lifespan of these devices is very short. So support for the devices is short because they're made obsolete very quickly. And why is that? This is because the provision of support via cloud computing and so on costs money. After about 2 years, such product ends its lifespan, reaches the end of its lifespan from the point of view of the manufacturer, and this is when the manufacturer shuts down its support. There's usually an asterisk and a small print message that there is that past certain date in 2018, let's say, there is no support provided. Another thing is that many manufacturers use similar components, specifically in terms of these cameras that you've seen. Doesn't matter if there are 50 different models on the market, if they use the same components. If there's a vulnerability in one of them, it's probably they're very easily spread in the other ones. While preparing for this presentation, or actually implementing this project, we managed to, and this was thanks to the Ariadna Poland Nationwide Panel cooperation, we managed to conduct this research on which of these devices are in your household and which of these devices can be called smart. Some of these responses are pretty surprising. Over 50% of the people indicated that they had a smart TV, but a smart washing machine or fridge exceed 20-something percent. This makes us think, what does it mean to have a smart device? After having seen this result, I started consulting websites of the manufacturers of these devices. So smart devices for the manufacturers, it means that for the manufacturers, that it means that a fridge can have a party feature, an extra fast cooling device. So these are services that have nothing to do with the smart notion that we deal with here. If you follow up on that, consult the website of technology fairs and so on, you'll see that an actual smart fridge costs $4,000 US dollars and not 2,000 zlotys, which is several times less. Even though this question was made pretty clearly, the Ariadna panel, we decided to ask this question again and ask expressly whether the device that we ask for is indeed connected to the internet. In case of smart TVs, however, we can count on the fact that these are this result is correct, because these are actually pretty widespread. We've got only 20 minutes, so I'm only talking about certain aspects of this research. The largest share of smart TV is in terms of last year's purchases is in the rural areas in Poland. Smart house appliances can enter by the back door into our lives. I bought a washing machine that can be connected to the internet. I didn't plan on that. I was just looking for a washing machine that had specific dimensions, specific size that would fit right into my my home. It wasn't a 4,000 US dollars washing machine. It was a mean, medium range one. And I haven't connected it yet. I haven't configured the internet connection. Unless I can see what it actually sends or uploads, I won't plug it in. In terms of the largest number of smart devices owned, the age group 35-44, 16.2% of the respondents said they had intelligent smart toys. The question was asked very clearly with a description of what were the smart toys. Furbies and drones fitted with apps to be remotely controlled by internet form part of this. What are you afraid of the most? Data is on the first place. Secondly, the privacy, and curiously, people are not that much afraid of losing control of their credit card data. This is here. It turns out to be on the lowest fear level, so to speak. In terms of buying toys for kids, females, ladies usually buy them more than gentlemen. You see the percentage here, 60%, and mothers are way ahead in this case. However, 78% of men said that they themselves make the electronic device shopping, do the electronic device shopping. Only 5% said that it is the lady, the wife that decides upon the purchase, but 54.7% of females said that they decide instead. So you can see the complete chaos in here, the incompatibility of answers. We are very much curious about how would this work in terms of internet-connected toys, since more men buy electronic devices and more women buy toys. How would that clash between these two groups? The very fact that these toys appear is usually valued on as a positive one or as a neutral one. 20% over 20% describes it as a threat. Several percent sees it as an opportunity. In larger cities, the trust is usually higher. 10% more people describe it as a positive phenomenon. We also asked what were the features of toys that are going to be purchased. You can see the main features were safety and price. Then age, relevance, durability, very high as well. Also, the child's preferences were received a lot of answers. Also fashion, but this is a fluctuating factor. However, the safety on the internet, as you can see, over 60% of respondents do not talk with their children on internet safety. So, as we understand it, the safety of toys was understood as the mechanical, physical aspect, so that the child wouldn't cut themselves or hurt themselves in another way. However, these internet toys bring about other kinds of threats, as you can see. A very small amount of people, 20%, do not talk at all about the internet safety with their children. So that gives you an idea of the point at which the public debate on this topic finds itself. Interviews with families on usage of digital media at home. We underlined the Internet of Things devices. I think in 8 interviews it was repeated that I do not talk with my child about the internet because they know more than I do. So parents would think that this is not really a conversational topic for them. Some respondents say that it is the duty of the manufacturer to underline the threats relative to the device, to state it clearly on the packaging. During the plenary session, we have heard many times that people have difficulties with describing the objective that they with which they use the internet, because it just surrounds them. So I book things, right? I found that a particular response funny. The question whether Wi-Fi in a travel destination is important, whether it influences your decision on choosing certain hotels. So the response was, "Oh, it doesn't influence us at all. If there's no Wi-Fi, we just spend less time there." Okay, and the next couple of slides we can omit, because the intention was to show that the smart toys is not a new topic by any means. The conclusion would be that that in general, in terms of Internet of Things, at hacking conferences, it's gone out of fashion. It's a lowball topic. There are so many issues with any smart device. You take any kind of smart device, in half hour you've got a presentation topic, so nobody wants to listen to that anymore. So here are the things that we would like to verify. We thought that we could grab these toys, take into account that 2 of them have been already verified very negatively, so we could do that as well, but it didn't turn out quite the same. Among these devices, each and every one of them needs a managing app. It can involve the configuration of the user's account, introduce the user's password, and after that, you can usually throw the smartphone away. In other cases, it doesn't work exactly like that because you can control the toy via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. You can see how the registration of a user looks, how does the interaction between the smartphone and the toy looks like. Not being an owner of the toy, there's a question of verifying whether such third person could interfere or hack. Then how the data uploaded to server is whether it's encrypted or not, whether you can use a phishing method to act as a manufacturer's server. One of the threat examples referred to the audio files stored on the server, not only a Barbie doll but other toys as well. So, not being the owner of these toys, you could go through the recordings of thousands and thousands of recordings. So it was a frightening perspective, really. How are the updates of the software? This is one of the potential problems. Question whether you can step into the shoes of a server and trick the device into sending it a software that looks like one sent by the manufacturer, or whether you can take over control of the toy, whether it can, for example, insult your child. The question whether the knowledge base that the toy is connected to can be limited in any way. Okay, so we've just started really these tests. We dedicated it to be showcased at the more technical conference within a month and a half, so we're more than welcome to attend. So first, conclusions are relative to whether it can be secured, the toys can be secured against the threats that have already been in the media, not only by encrypting the connection, but also checking the certificate of the server, whether to verify the identity. The simplest things didn't work to be the man in the middle with most of these toys.
Which has its good and bad points. So when you don't see the movement being encrypted, then we can't know what is really being transferred. So we cannot check whether the producer complies with the agreement or not. If encryption was done well, we won't find out about what kind of data is being transferred. If it doesn't, everybody can break, everybody can access data. Additionally, just as I said, different producers have different approaches to data storage, processing, and so on and so forth. Some of the devices, at least the producers, say that they basically do not gather data, and in case of Barbie, parents can log on and listen to what the children recorded. Evenberg Firm Law joined our our initiative and made a summary of terms and conditions that are applied by the producers of connected toys. And the results are quite shocking, as databases are not closed. We don't know what kind of data is gathered. Activities are not in line with EU legislation on data protection. We don't know whether data gathered is transferred to third countries, to third parties. For example, to China, where regulation on personal data is totally different than here. So loads of information from the terms of use appear in this summary prepared by our partner from the law firm. What we would like to do is prepare a guidebook for a parent who would like to buy a connected toy for their children, so that they could understand all the aspects. And I believe we will publish that guide in the beginning of next year.